Hi everyone, I'm Madhu. So friends, today we are going to discuss about chapter number 1 of history of class ninth, which is the French Revolution. So this was a very influential revolution which influenced all over the world. So as the name says, the French Revolution, this revolution happened in France. The people of France did this revolution. So French Revolution is a series of event. It is a series of event collectively known as the French Revolution. So friends, in this video we are going to discuss about all these topics which I have written on board. So the first topic is French society during the late 18th century. Means how was the French society, how are the people of France during the late 18th century. So let me clear you one confusion here. 18th century. Some of us get confused in this. 18th century is the time period between 1700 to 1800. So this time period is 18th century. But many of us get confused and will think 18th century as the time period between 1800 to 1900. That will be 19th century. 18th century will be time period between 1700 to 1800. So this is the concept. So how was the French society during the late 18th century? Late 18th century means roughly between 1750 to 1800. Between 1750 to 1800. So it will be roughly called the late 18th century. How was the French society at this time? So this we are going to discuss in the first topic. So here we have some subtopics. Struggle to survive. So at that time, the people of France were struggling to survive. We will see what were the reasons behind it and everything. Then next topic, growing middle class envisages an end to privileges. So middle class were those people at that time in France like businessman, lawyer, craftsman. So these people were known as middle class who were educated. So when the middle class was growing, envisages means to imagine, to think. So growing middle class and end to privileges. What is privileges? Privileges are some special right or advantages that are given to some selected people. So at that time in France, king, his family and the clergy people. Clergy were those who were related to the church. So those people were having some special right, some advantages by birth. So if you are born in a noble family, if you are related to king and if you are related to church, then you will have some privileges by birth, some special right. And this was not right. Privileges should be based on merit, not on birth. So middle class played a very important role in ending the privileges system. So about this topic we will discuss. Then second topic, the outbreak of the revolution. How the French Revolution started. That is known as the outbreak of the revolution. Then we have a subtopic, France becomes a constitutional monarchy. Constitutional monarchy means a monarchy, a country which is having a constitution. So France becomes a constitutional monarchy. Then third topic, France abolishes monarchy and becomes a republic. Monarchy means a system, a country which is ruled by a king or a hereditary ruler. And republic means the head of the state or head of the country will be a selected person by the people. People will elect that head which will rule them. So that is a republic. So France abolishes monarchy. Has abolished monarchy means now a king or a hereditary ruler will not rule them. Who will rule? A republic. Republic means a elected representative will rule them. So this is the third topic. We have some subtopic here, Reign of Terror. So Reign of Terror was a time period that is known as Reign of Terror. So about this topic we are going to understand. Then a directory rules France. Directory is like a committee or a rule book which is ruling France. So this we are going to understand. Then fourth topic, did women have a revolution? So as the French Revolution was going on, what was the role of women in it? Did women was also having a revolution? About them we will discuss. Then the abolition of slavery. So at that time in France, slavery was prominent. So how the slavery was abolished, this we are going to discuss. Then last topic, the revolution and everyday life. So how is the revolution and how it was related to everyday life? What were the impacts of it on the everyday life of people? So these are the topics, and at last we will discuss one conclusion. What we have concluded from this chapter, what we have discussed overall. So in the last we will discuss the conclusion. So these are all the topics we will discuss in this chapter. So first I will start with a particular event, and by that we are going to discuss how the French Revolution happened. So friends, we are going to start this chapter with a particular event, and that is 14 July 1789. So what happened on this date, we will discuss this. Because 14 July 1789 is remembered as the outbreak of the French Revolution, or you can say that French Revolution started on this date. So first we will discuss what happened here, and then we will discuss what were the reasons behind it, how were the people, who was the king, how was the society, every topic. So what happened on 14 July 1789, the king of France, at that time king of France was Louis XVI. So Louis XVI sent his army troops into Paris. He sent his army troops into Paris maybe for some work. But the people of Paris assumed that the army troops have came in Paris to open fire on us, to harm us. So the people got scared and they decided that we have to fight against these army troops. So it was a misconception, it was a misunderstanding between the king and the people. People assumed that the army troops have come here to open fire on us, to harm us. That's why people decided with that we will fight against them. So people made groups, they made different several groups, and they started searching for weapons, for arms, because they have to fight against them. So a group of people, then what happened? A group of people stormed Bastille. What was Bastille? Bastille was a prison. It was a prison, and a group of people stormed Bastille. Stormed means attacked Bastille. So a group of people attacked Bastille. Why? Bastille was hated by all the people of France. Why? Because Bastille was a symbol of despotic rule of king. Means king was like hereditary. He was monarchical. He can do everything whatever he want. So it was, this prison was the symbol of despotic rule of the king. So it was hated by all the people of France. That's why a group of people stormed Bastille. They attacked Bastille in the search of weapons. They were searching weapons. That's why they attacked Bastille. And also it was hated by all the people. So when the people attacked Bastille, all the prisoners which were there in that prison in Bastille, they were released. Okay, so this date is, this happened on 14 July 1789. So when the people attacked Bastille was demolished. You can say it was completely broken. So that this happened on 14 July 1789. So, and this is remembered as the outbreak of the French Revolution. And after that a series of events happened. Then the price of bread, which is the staple food of France, it also rose. The price of bread rose. That's why people got more angry and they started protesting against the king. Okay, so this is a very popular date which is remembered as the outbreak of the French Revolution. So now we are going to start with our first topic, which is French society during the late 18th century. So friends, let's start with our first topic, which is French society during the late 18th century. So let's start. First point is, in 1774, Louis XVI of the Bourbon family of kings ascended the throne of France. So in 1774, Louis XVI, as I have told you earlier also, he ascended the throne of France and he was of Bourbon family. Then he was married to Austrian princess Maria Antoinette. So he was married to a Austrian princess Maria Antoinette. Then upon his accession to the new king, found an empty treasury. So when he ascended the throne, when Louis XVI became the king of France, then what he saw, that his treasury is empty. What is treasury? Treasury is all the funds, all the taxes, all revenues that a king or a government takes from the people. That is treasury. So his treasury was empty when he ascended the throne. Why? There were many reasons for this. Because France helped 13 American colonies to get independent from Britain. Britain was a common enemy of France also and of America also. So France helped America to get independent from Britain. So it helped 13 American colonies to get independence from Britain. That's why it drained the wealth of France. And also the palace in which the king was living, the palace of Versailles. It was the name of the palace in which Louis XVI was living. That palace was very extravagant. It was very immense, or you can say the cost of maintaining that palace was very high. It was very expensive. That's why it was also a factor in draining the wealth of France. Then so war added the debt on France. Because of the war, because France helped America to get independent from Britain, it drained the wealth of France. That's why France had a debt of more than 2 billion livres. Debt means loan. So France had a loan on itself of 2 billion livres. Livres was the currency of France at that time. So it was the currency of France, and France was having a loan of 2 billion livres. So this is the financial condition of France at that time. Fine. Then if a government or if a king is having loan on himself or itself, then what government will do? It will increase the taxes, and taxes are paid by the people of the country, of the state. So French government was forced to increase the taxes. Obviously, if the government is having loan on itself, if the economic condition is not good, then what the government will do? It will increase the taxes. But here there is a twist. What is the twist? All the taxes were paid by the people of third estate. What is third estate? French society was divided into 3 estates: clergy, nobility, and the third estate, which comprises of the common people: businessman, lawyer, craftsman, peasants, farmers, everyone. They were included in third estate. So third estate only has to pay all the taxes. So this was the condition of French society at that time. Now let's discuss about the structure of French society in detail. So friends, this is the structure of the French society. There were 3 estates: first estate, second estate, and the third estate. The French society was divided into these 3 estates or groups, you can say. So the first estate was comprised of the clergy. It was known as clergy. Clergy were those people who were related to the church. They were priests. So they were in the first estate and they were known as clergy. Second estate was nobility. Nobility means king, his family, his relatives, everyone. They were included in the second estate, and it was nobility, nobles. So it was king and his family. Third estate. Third estate was comprised of the common people of the country, like businessmen, lawyers, merchants, peasants. Peasants are farmers. So these people were included in third estate. So 90% of the population of France was peasants, means farmers. Farmers were 90% of the population, you can see. And as I've told you earlier also, tax were only paid by the third estate. First estate and second estates do not have to pay any taxes. So this was a privilege to the first and second estate. As I've told you in the starting of the video, that the first estate and second estate were having some privileges, means some special rights, some advantages. And the biggest one was they don't have to pay any taxes. So the nobility and the clergy do not have to pay any taxes. So this was the biggest advantage to them. Only the third estate has to pay all the taxes. So all the burden of taxes was on third estate alone. Fine. So this was the structure of the French society, and they were enjoying many rights. All the taxes were received by the nobility and the clergy. Clergy was when the peasants are farming and they are when they are producing their harvest. So clergy takes a tax from the farmers of the country. It was known as tithe. So this was a tax taken by the clergy from the peasants, from the farmers, and it was 1/10 of the agricultural produce. Means if there is a farmer and he is producing if he is producing any harvest, any crop, then 1/10 of his produce he has to give in church to the clergy as a tax, and that was known as tithe. So this was given by the peasants to the church. Now peasants have to give a direct tax. The people of third estates, not the peasants, the people of the third estate has to give a direct tax to the nobility, means to the king, and that tax was known as tithe. So this was the tax which was given by the people of third estate to the king. Direct tax it was. So these were the prominent two taxes which were given by the people of third estate. So this was the structure of the French society. Now let's discuss about our next subtopic, which is struggle to survive. So friends, now let's discuss about our next subtopic, which is struggle to survive. So this means that the people of France were struggling to survive. How? The population of France rose from about 23 million in 1715 to 28 million in 1789. So the population rose from 23 million to 28 million from 1715 to 1789. So population grew up. Then production of grains could not keep pace with the demand. So if the population is increasing, the demand of the food grains, the demand of food will increase, but the production of grains, means the production of food, was not able to keep pace with the demand of food. So demand was more, but the production was less. Then wages of the workers did not keep pace with the rise in prices. So if production is less and demand is more, the prices of food will rise. There will be inflation. But so inflation was there, prices were rising of the food, but the wages, means the income, the salary of the workers was not rising. It was same. So what happened? Gap between rich and poor widened. Rich were becoming more rich, poor were becoming more poor. The gap between them was becoming wide because of the wages, the income, salaries were not rising, but the prices were rising. Production was less, demand was more, so there was inflation. So that's why rich and poor, their gap was becoming wide. Situation become worse whenever drought or hail reduced the harvest, and the situations become even more worse when whenever there was a drought or a hail. So when drought or hail was there, then the situations became more worse because the harvest get reduced. When there will be drought or hail, obviously the harvest will be reduced and the situations will become more worse. And this complete condition which we have discussed, this was known as subsistence crisis. What is subsistence crisis? When the basic means of livelihood are food, water, shelter. These are basic means of livelihood. They are endangered. Then that condition is known as subsistence crisis. So there was a subsistence crisis in France. The poor people were struggling to survive. So this was the condition in France at that time. Now let's discuss about our next topic, which is growing middle class envisages an end to privileges. So friends, now let's discuss about our next topic, which is growing middle class envisages an end to privileges. So what happened? As you know, middle class was growing. Middle class were those people of third estate who can have access to education. They were educated. So they were known as the middle class people. And these people brought the revolution. So let's see what happened. Peasants and workers lacked the means and programs to carry out full-scale measures that would bring about a change in the social and economic order. As you know, poor people were not happy from the government, from the king, as he was increasing the taxes, and the poor it was getting very difficult for the poor people to survive, to get basic needs. So that's why they were suffering from subsistence crisis. This was happening there. But so the people were angry, they were protesting against the king, but they were lacking programs and means. They were not organized. So they were not able to bring a change in social and economic order. So now who will bring the change? The people who are educated. So This was left to those groups within the third estate. So the middle class were included in third estate. They were the people who had become prosperous. They were prosperous, they were having wealth, they were good and had access to education and new ideas. So they were those people who were educated, and when they get educated, they became all aware about what are human rights, what is freedom, what the social position of a person should not be based on his birth, it should be based on merit. So this everything they got aware by having access to education. So they were known as the middle class people. Merchants, manufacturers, lawyers, administrative officials, all of these were educated. So these are some professions included in third estates who were able to have access to education, and believed no group in society should be privileged by birth. So they believed that no one should have some advantage by birth. Privileges should be based on merit. So they were those people. These ideas envisaging a society based on freedom and equal laws and opportunities for all. So here a new society was coming up, a new society, a new thinking was rising. It was based on freedom, equal laws and opportunities. So a new society, a new thinking of people was coming up. So let's see what happened next. So friends, what happened next? These ideas envisages a society based on freedom, equal laws and opportunities for all. These ideas were arising in the society, as I've told you, were put forward by philosophers such as John Locke, Rousseau and Montesquieu. So there were certain philosophers in French society who were discussing about these ideas, which is freedom, equal laws, opportunities for all. So these ideas were put forward by these philosophers. They were very famous philosophers in France at that time. Then in his two treatises of government, Locke sought to refute the doctrine of divine and absolute right of the monarch. So John Locke, he was a philosopher. So he wrote a book, Two Treatises of Government. So this was a book written by John Locke. So what he said in this book, he refute means to prove any statement, to prove any theory incorrect. So he proved the doctrine of divine incorrect. What was the doctrine of divine? That king is the absolute power of the country. He cannot be questioned, he cannot be subjected. So this doctrine was not correct, it was incorrect. So the John Locke in his book Two Treatises of Government, he refuted this doctrine. And absolute right of the monarch, John Locke refuted also the absolute right of the monarch. What is absolute right of monarch? That monarch will be a hereditary ruler, and it is not good. The head of a state should be elected representative. It should not he or she should not be a hereditary ruler. So John Locke refuted the doctrine of divine and the absolute right of the monarch. Then Rousseau carried the idea forward, proposing a form of government based on social contract between people and their representatives. So Rousseau was also a famous philosopher in France. What he said, he put forward the idea that there should be a contract between the people and their representative. Representative will be elected by the people, and there should be a contract between them. This was put forward by Rousseau. Then, in spirit of laws, Montesquieu proposed a division of power within the government between the legislative, the executive and the judiciary. So, the In Spirit of Laws, this is the book written by Montesquieu. He was also a very famous philosopher in France. So, he wrote a book, The Spirit of Laws. So, in this book, he said that the power of government should be divided. It should be divided into three parts: the legislative, the executive and the judiciary. And this form of government was adopted by USA after getting independent from Britain. Fine. So this was all the philosophers and their ideas. So their ideas were discussed by the common people. They were getting aware, people were getting aware of these ideas that all humans should be equal. The head of the state should be elected representative. So gradually the people were becoming aware by these ideas. So then Louis XVI, King of the France, decided that he will increase the taxes. So now you know that the situation was everyone was getting aware of these ideas, and immediately Louis XVI decided that he will increase the taxes. So people got angry, they got very angry, and people protested against Louis XVI, and this led to the outbreak of the French Revolution. So now let's discuss about our next topic, which is outbreak of the French Revolution. So friends, now let's discuss about our second topic, which is outbreak of the revolution. So as I've told you earlier, the king decided to increase the taxes. So this work could not be done by the king alone. He could not alone increase the taxes. He has to call a meeting for this. So to increase taxes, king had to call a meeting of the Estates General. So there were three estates in the in France. It was first estate, second estate, and the third estates. So there were Estates General of all the three estates. So he has to call a meeting of them. Then on 5 May 1789, this date you have to remember, 5 May 1789, on this date Louis XVI called together an assembly of the Estates General. So on this date Louis XVI called the meeting of the Estates General to increase the taxes. Then first and second estates sent 300 representatives. So from first and second estates there were 300 representatives each. Each means 300 representative from first estate and 300 representative from second estate. While the 600 members of the third estate. From third estate there were 600 members. So you can see that from the third estate there were more members. Why? Because most of the population was included in the third estate. Businessman, lawyer, merchants, craftsman, peasants, all the common man, means most of the population was included in third estate. That's why there were more members from third estate. Then voting in the Estates General. So now to increase the taxes there will be voting, so that voting for every estate general, every estate general will vote. Then voting in the States General in the past had been conducted according to the principle that each state had one vote. So on base of which principle there was voting in the States General, that every state general or every state will have one vote. So this was the principle through which the voting happens in that Estates General. So this time also it was going to happen the same. Every state will have one vote. But the members of the third estate demanded that each member would have one vote. But the members of third estate said they demanded that every member of the estate should have one vote. So this was the demand of the people, of the members of the third estate. So what happened? King rejected this proposal. Now this was a democratic way of voting, that everyone should have one vote. So king does not want that it should be a democratic voting. He wants that the voting should be in his favor. That's why he rejected this proposal. So when the king rejected this proposal, members of the third estate got angry. They got disappointed, and the members of the third estate walked out of the assembly in protest. So they got angry and they walked out of the assembly and started protesting against the king. So this happened on this date. Now let's discuss what happened next. So friends, now let's discuss what happened next. On 20 June, they assembled in the hall of an indoor tennis court in the grounds of Versailles. So the people of the third estate were angry. They walked out of the assembly and they assembled. On 20 June, they assembled in the ground of an open tennis court in the grounds of Versailles. Then they declared themselves a national assembly. They declared that the people of third estate declared themselves a national assembly on 20 June and swore not to disperse till they had drafted a constitution for France that would limit the powers of the monarch. So what they decided, they swore that we will not disperse until we will draft a constitution for France and we will limit the powers of the monarch, means of the king. Then they were led by Mirabeau and Abesias. So they were the two leaders which were leading the National Assembly. So Mirabeau, he was a noble by birth. He was a noble, but still he was helping. He was leading the people of third estate because he was aware that the treatment, the condition of the people of the third estate was not good. It was not correct. That's why he supported the people of third estate. Then Abesias, he was a priest, or he also supported the third estate. So they are the two people who led the National Assembly. Then, while the National Assembly was busy at Versailles in drafting a constitution, the rest of France seethed with turmoil. So what happened? The National Assembly, means the elected representatives of the third estate, were busy in drafting the constitution. But what about the rest of the people of France? They were seethed with turmoil. What this means, that there was a lot of confusion between the people of the France. What happened? That a severe winter had meant a bad harvest. There was a severe winter at that time and it caused a bad harvest. So if there is a bad harvest, the price of the food grains will rise. There will be an inflation. So the price of bread, which was the basic staple food of people, rose, means the price became high. Then often bakers exploited the situation, means bakers means the owners of the shop. They exploited the situation. All the supplies, all the food grains, they stored in large amounts with them. So they were exploiting the situation, and the people, the common people, were getting more and more angry for this reason. So now till here we have discussed. Now let's see what happened next. So friends, let's see what happened next. As we have seen earlier that there was lot of confusion going on with the people. The owners of the shop were exploiting the situation. They were storing the gains with them. So let's see what happened next. After spending hours in long queues at the bakery, crowds of angry women stormed into the shops. So what happened? There was a bakery and there was long queues for buying food in the bakery. So there were long lines, long queues of the women. So they were standing in hours on in that long queues. So they got angry and they attacked the shops. They stormed the shops, angry women. Then at the same time, king ordered troops, means his army troops, to move into Paris. This I have told you in the starting of the video also. This happened on 14 July 1789, which was considered as the outbreak of the French Revolution. So at the same time, king ordered troops to move into Paris on 14 July 1789. The agitated crowd, means the angry crowd, stormed and destroyed Bastille. This I have told in the starting of video also, that on July 14 July in the 1789, king sent his army troops into Paris. People thought that they have came to open fire on us. So the agitated, means the angry crowd, stormed and attacked and destroyed Bastille, which was a prison. Then in the countryside means village, rumors spread from village to village that the lords of the manor. What is manor? Manor is, like, you can say, it is land, or you can say castle of a nobleman or of a king. So lords of the manor means owners. The owners of the manor had hired bands of brigands. What are brigands? Brigands, you can say, robbers or thieves, who were on their way to destroy ripe crops. So what happened? This rumor spread in the village side that the lords of the manor, means owners of the manor, are coming with some group of robbers and thieves, and they are going to destroy our crops. So the people got scared, they got feared, farmers. So what happened? Caught in the frenzy of fear, means they were very feared. The farmers were very feared because the bands of brigand were coming to destroy their crops. So they get very feared. Peasants in several districts seized hoes and pitchforks. Hoes and pitchforks are their instrument for farming. They are the instruments. So they took their hoes and pitchforks and attacked Châteaux. What is Châteaux? Châteaux is, you can say, castle or residence of a king or a nobleman. So they attacked that Châteaux. They They looted hoarded grains. Hoarded grains means stored grains which were there with the nobleman and the king. They looted them and burned down documents containing records of manorial dues. So all the peasants which were protesting, which were feared, so what they did, they burned down all the documents which were having the record of manorial dues. These are the dues, taxes that were taken from the farmer, and in those documents there was a record of that. So all the farmers burned those documents. So there was so many protests going on in different parts of France. So we have discussed till here. Let's see what happened next. So friends, let's see what happened next. Faced with the power of his revolting subjects, as there were different protests in different parts of the country. So what happened when king saw the power of when the king saw the power of revolting subjects, mean the revolting people? Louis XVI, who was the king of France, finally accorded recognition to the National Assembly. So finally he officially declared the National Assembly. He accorded recognition to the National Assembly and accepted the principle that his powers would from now on be checked by a constitution. So what he agreed, that his powers will be limited and his powers will be checked by a constitution. So the king of France agreed for what the people were demanding for. Then on the night of 4 August 1789, this date you have to remember, on the night of 4 August 1789, the Assembly, the National Assembly, passed a decree abolishing the feudal system of obligation and taxes. So what was feudal system? Feudal system was any king or any nobleman will give land to peasants, to farmers, and in the return farmers will serve them, they will fight for them if there will be any condition of war. So what was feudal system? That a king or a nobleman will give land to the peasants, and in the return it's the responsibility of a farmer that he will serve the king or a nobleman. But it was completely injustice with the peasants. So what happened, that a rule was passed on 4 August 1789 which abolished this feudal system of obligation. Obligation means responsibility, and taxes. Members of the clergy, means the members who are related to the church, members of the clergy too were forced to give up their privileges. So as I've told you in the earlier, that the nobility and the clergy were having some privileges by birth. So the clergy was forced to give up its privileges. Then tithe, which was the tax taken by the church, which was 1/10 of the agricultural produce. So this tithe, I have told you, it is a tax taken. So it was also abolished. And lands owned by the church, means there are lands which are owned by the church, were confiscated, means they were taken from them. Who were taking the lands? Farmers. So farmers confiscated the land which was owned by the church. Then as a result, the government acquired assets worth at least 2 billion livres. So what happened, that people were protesting. The king of France agreed that okay, you can check my powers will be limited, and it will be limited by a constitution. So then the National Assembly passed a law which abolished feudal system of obligation and taxes, and the members of the clergy were forced to give up their privileges. Fine. Then tithe was abolished, which was a tax taken by the church, and all the land which was owned by the church was confiscated. So as a result, all the amount, all the assets, the land was confiscated, all the taxes were given up, all the privileges were given up. So what happened, that the money, that the assets which was there with the clergy and nobility, it was 2 billion livres. And this I have told you in earlier also, that France was having debt or loan of 2 billion livres. So this loan got removed. It got fulfilled when the people protested and they confiscated all the land, all the money from the government. So this happened. Then let's discuss what happened next. So friends, now let's discuss about our next subtopic, which is France becomes a constitutional monarchy. So how France become a constitutional monarchy? Let's discuss that. So first point is the National Assembly completed the draft of the constitution. Means when the National Assembly has completed the draft of the constitution, it is in 1791. So in 1791, draft of the constitution was completed. Its main object was to limit the powers of the monarch. So the main objective of the constitution was to limit the powers of the monarch, of the king. Then these powers were now separated to different institutions: the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. This made France a constitutional monarchy. So now the power of the constitution, the power of the government was divided into three institutions, that is legislative, executive, and the judiciary. Like this, the France becomes a constitutional monarchy. It is a monarchy. Monarchy means the country is headed or led by a king, but it has a constitution. So France was a constitutional monarchy. Constitution, it has a constitution, and there is monarchy as well. Then only then the right to vote was given to all the people of the given to some people who can vote there, who can elect their representative. So who were those people? Only men above 25 years. Men above 25 years. Men above 25 years of the age who paid taxes equal to at least 3 days of a labor's wage were given the status of active citizens. So what happened, that men above 25 years of age and also who are paying taxes at least equal to the 3 days of a labor wage. This amount of tax, if a man is able to pay and he is above 25 years of age, then he is a active citizen. Active citizens means he is having right to vote. So only these men were, some selected wealthy men were having right to vote. The remaining men which are not able to pay this amount of tax, they are remaining men. And all the women were classed as passive citizens. They were passive citizens who were not having any right to vote. So only some selected group of men were having right to vote. Other than no other men, which are remaining men, and all the women were not having any right to vote. They were regarded as passive citizens. So this was about the right to vote. Now the Constitution of France begins with a declaration of rights of a man: right to life, freedom of speech, freedom of opinion, equality before laws. These types of laws are there in the introduction of the Constitution of France at that time. And it was given that these rights of the citizen must be protected by the government. Okay, then this was all about this topic. Now let's discuss about our next topic, which is France abolishes monarchy and becomes a republic. So friends, now let's discuss the third topic of our chapter, which is France abolishes monarchy and establishes and becomes a republic. So what happened? Although Louis XVI has signed the constitution, he entered into secret negotiations with the King of Prussia. So what the King of France did, he have signed the constitution, he have agreed that his powers will be limited and it will be checked by the constitution, but secretly he got with the King of Prussia. He entered into the negotiations with the King of Prussia, because no one wants that his power, his wealth or his power should be limited. So he entered into secret negotiations with the King of Prussia, and other neighboring countries which were neighbors of the France were also worried that the development of France, if France get developed and made a constitution, then it will be a problem for them as well, because then people will revolt, they will protest, and the position of a king and the power of a king will be in danger. So that's why other countries, the kings of other countries were also worried, and they were even not wanting that there should be a revolution and any change should be there. Then before this could happen, before the other countries and their kings have stopped the revolution, had tried to stop this revolution, before this could happen, National Assembly voted in April 1792 to declare war against Prussia and Austria. So what National Assembly did, that before other countries and their rulers stopped their revolution, they voted in April 1792 and they declared a war against Austria and Prussia. Then the revolutionary wars brought losses and economic difficulties to the people. Obviously, if there will be a war, there will be financial problem in the country to the people. So the revolutionary wars brought losses and economic difficulties to the people. While the men were away fighting at the front, women were left to cope with the task of earning a living and looking after their families. So what happened? That as the war was going on between the people, between the common people and the kings, the aristocrats, so men were away to fight in the front line, they were the front line soldiers, but the women were there, they were looking after their families, they were earning a living. Then women were also, but a larger sections of the population were convinced that the revolution had to be carried further, as the constitution of 1791 gave the political rights only to the richer sections of the society. So what most of the people decided, that this revolution should be carried more further, because the right to vote, political rights, were given to the richer people, as I've told you in the earlier also. The passive citizens, which were in with that, it was included all the remaining men and women, were not having any right to vote. So this revolution had to be carried further, because the constitution of 1791 only give the political rights to the richer people. Then there we have discussed till here. So let's see what happened next. So friends, what happened next? Political clubs became an important point for people who wished to discuss government policies and plan their actions, own form of actions. So what now, political clubs formed by the people become a very important point for those people who were willing to discuss the government policies and take action against them. Then more successful of these clubs was the Jacobin Club. So this was the most successful and the most popular political club, which was known as the Jacobin Club. The members of the Jacobin Club belonged mainly to the less prosperous sections of the society. So the members of the Jacobin Club, they were less prosperous. They were not belonging to a richer section of the society. They were belonging to the less prosperous sections of the society, like shopkeepers, merchants, etc. People like them. Then their leader was Maximilien Robespierre. The Jacobin Club was led by Maximilien Robespierre. So he was the leader of them. Then in the summer of 1792, the Jacobins planned an insurrection. What is an insurrection? Insurrection is a violent action taken against a government or a king. So Jacobins planned an insurrection of a large number of Parisians. Parisians were those people who were living in Paris at that time. So they Jacobins planned an insurrection for a large number of Parisians who were angry of the short supplies and high prices of the food. So the supply of food was very short, but the price of food was very high. So the people were angry, and for that Jacobins decided that we will plan an insurrection against the government in 1792. So we have discussed till here. So let's see what happened next. So friends, what happened next? On the morning of 10 August, they means Jacobin members, the member of Jacobin Club, stormed the palace of the Tuileries, massacred the king's guard, and held the king as hostage for several hours. So what happened? That the members of Jacobin Club stormed the palace of Tuileries and they killed the king's guard and they held the king, which was Louis XVI, as a hostage. Then later the assembly voted to imprison the royal family. Then the National Assembly voted and the royal family was imprisoned. Then elections were held for a new National Assembly. But from now on, all men of 21 years and above, regardless of wealth, got right to vote. So what a change was brought, that men of 21 years and above can vote regardless of their wealth. So this change was brought in the voting system. Then the newly elected assembly was called the convention. So the newly elected assembly was called the convention. On 21 September 1792, it abolished the monarchy and declared France a republic. So what the newly elected convention did, that on 21 September 1792, it abolished monarchy. That from now on, a king or a hereditary ruler will not rule us, a elected representative will rule the country. So it abolished monarchy and declared France a republic, where the head of a state is a elected representative. So a king will not rule. So the Louis XVI has to be executed because he was the king. So Louis XVI was sentenced to death. So on 21 January 1793, Louis XVI, which was the king of France, was executed publicly at the Place de la Concorde. So at this place, Louis XVI was publicly executed. So this was all about this topic. So now let's talk about our next topic, which is Reign of Terror. So friends, now let's discuss about our next topic, which is Reign of Terror. So till now we have discussed that France has abolished monarchy and established a republic, and the king was executed. So who had done this? It was the Jacobin Club. So it was done by the Jacobin Club. So now the country was led by the leader of Jacobin Club, who was Maximilien Robespierre. So what is Reign of Terror? The period from 1793 to 1794 is referred to as the Reign of Terror. So the time between 1793 to 1794 is Reign of Terror. So Robespierre, in this period of time, Robespierre followed a policy of severe control and punishment. As Maximilien Robespierre was leading the country, so he followed a policy of severe control and punishment. All those who did not agree with his policies or methods, they were arrested, imprisoned and guillotined. So what was guillotine? Guillotine was a device which was containing a blade, and through that device a person was beheaded. So it was a device through which a person is beheaded. So now who will not agree with the policies, with the methods of Robespierre, they were first arrested, imprisoned and then in the last they were guillotined. Maybe that person is a noble, or he is related to clergy, or that person is from another political party, or that person is even from his own political party. Who will not agree with his methods and policies, they will be arrested, imprisoned and guillotined. So it was he was pursuing his policies very extremely, very relentlessly. So people were very disappointed from him. Then peasants were forced to transport their grain to the cities and sell it at prices fixed by the government. So what happened? What the Robespierre was saying, that peasants means farmers, were forced to bring their harvest, to bring their grain and or agricultural produce to the cities, and they have to sell their grain at a fixed price that was fixed by the government. Then all citizens were required to eat the pain d'égalité, which was known as the equality bread. Means everyone has to eat this equality bread, no matter that a person is rich or poor. He or she has to eat this bread. It was compulsory. Then instead of the traditional monsieur, which is in French, in English it is known as sir. So this was a traditional address of calling a people. Then, and madam, which is in English it is called as madam. All French men and women were citoyen, and citoyenne means citizen. Means no one a man or woman will not be called as monsieur or madam. They will be called as citoyen, which means citizen. So it was the address of calling a people was also made compulsory. Then churches were shut down and their buildings converted into barracks or offices. So what happened? Churches were even shut down and their buildings were converted into barracks or offices. So he was pursuing his policies very, very relentlessly, very severely. So the people of his own party even get very disappointed from him and angry from him, and they wanted that he should pursue his policies with moderation, but he did not listen to them. And then finally Maximilian Robespierre was convicted by a court, and finally in July 1794 he was arrested and guillotined. So this was all about the topic Reign of Terror. Now let's discuss about our next topic, which is a directory rules France. So friends, now let's discuss about our next topic, which is a directory rules France. So as the Jacobin government fell, as when Maximilian Robespierre was executed, then the Jacobin government fell. Then what happened, that the fall of the Jacobin government allowed the wealthier middle class to seize power. So as the Jacobin government fell, the wealthier middle class people seized the power, because other people belonging to the Jacobin club were belonging to the less prosperous section of the society. But as the Jacobin government fell, wealthier middle class people seized the power. A new constitution was introduced which denied the vote to the non-propertied sections of the society. So what happened, when those people came in power, they introduced a new constitution in which the right to vote was denied to non-propertied sections of the society who are not having any property, they were not having any right to vote. Then it provided for 2 elected legislative councils. These then appointed a directory, an executive made up of 5 members. So what happened, that a new constitution introduced elected 2 legislative council, and those legislative councils appointed a directory. Directory was a executive made of 5 members. So now what happened, that those 5 members, that directory often clashed with each other. They dismissed each other, the members of the directory. So there was a political instability at that time. So the political instability of France at that time, of the directory, paved the way for the rise of a military dictator, Napoleon Bonaparte. You must have heard this name. He was a military dictator of the France, and he became the you can say leader of the France, because the directory was having a political instability. That's why it helped in the rise of a military dictator, Napoleon Bonaparte. So this was all about the topic, a directory rules France. Now let's discuss about our next topic, which is, did women have a revolution? So friends, now let's discuss about the 4th topic of our chapter, which is, did women have a revolution? So from the starting of the French Revolution, women were protesting against the government, and they were wanting that there should be improvement in their lives, they should be given equal political rights, they should have access to education. They were protesting against the government. So at that time, most of the women of the third estate had to work for a living. So the women of the third estate had to work for a living. They worked as seamstress, laundress, or they sold flowers, fruits, or vegetables, or they worked as domestic servants in the house of prosperous people. But most of the women were working to earn their living. Then most women did not have access to any education. So the women were not having any access to education, mostly of the third estate. The women related to nobility or clergy were having some access to education, but later they were married. Then their wages were lower than those of men. If there is a work, and if a man is doing that and if a woman is doing that, then men will get more wages for that and women will get less wages. So from here we can imagine that the condition of women in France at that time was not good. So women started protesting. To protest and to discuss their interest, they also formed their own political clubs. And the most famous political club formed by women was the Society of Revolutionary and Republican Women. So this was the most famous political club of the women formed at that time. But the women were very disappointed when in the constitution of 1791 marked them as passive citizens. So they were very disappointed and angry that they were marked and reduced as passive citizens. Their major demand was that they want equal political rights as of men. So they started protesting against the government. But in the early years, the revolutionary government which was formed, they introduced some laws for them which improved their lives, such as schooling was made compulsory for all girls, marriage was made into a contract, entered into freely. Then divorce was made legal. They could train for jobs and run small businesses. Some laws were introduced for women which improved their life in the early years. But during the reign of terror, which I have told you earlier, that the time between 1793 to 1794, the new government, means the Jacobin government, banned their political activities and political clubs. So during the reign of terror, their all political activities and their political clubs were banned. But still they were protesting against the government. They were fighting for equal political rights. They were fighting for the right to vote. But finally in 1946, women in France won the right to vote. Finally in 1946, women get the right in France, right to vote. So this was all about the topic, did women have a revolution? Now let's talk about our next topic, the abolition of slavery. So friends, now let's discuss about the fifth topic of our chapter, which is abolition of the slavery. So at that time in France, slavery was very prominent. So what happened, that slave trade began in 17th century. So slave trade means slaves were bought from the people, and they were made to do work for long hours, and they were even paid less for their work, and they were very exploited. So this was slavery, and it began in 17th century, from 1600 to 1700. So what happened, that French merchants sailed from the ports of Bordeaux or Nantes. So these are the name of the ports of the France. From these ports, French merchants sailed to the African coast, and there they bought, and where they bought slaves from local chieftains, and there they bought the slaves from the local chieftains to do work. Because the Europeans were very, you can say, reluctance to go at a distant place and do work. Reluctance means they were very unwilling to do work at a distant place. That's why they hired slaves to do their work. Then port cities like Bordeaux and Nantes owed their economic prosperity to the flourishing slave trade. So what happened? Europeans felt very unwilling to go at a distant place and do work. That's why they hired slaves. That's why they owed their economic prosperity. Means because all the work was did by the slaves, so their economic prosperity they owed their economic prosperity to the flourishing slave trade. As the slave trade was growing, their economic prosperity was also, they were becoming more and more economic prosperous. Then throughout the 18th century, there was little criticism of slavery in France. So what happened? In 18th century, means from 1700 to 1800, there was very little criticism of slavery in France. But it was finally the convention which in 1794 legislated to free all the slaves. But in 1794, the convention legislated that we will free all the slaves that are kept in the possessions of the French colonies. Then 10 years later, but after 10 years later, when Napoleon Bonaparte became the military dictator of the France, what he did, he reintroduced slavery. So after 10 years, he reintroduced slavery. But after so many protests, so many struggle, slavery was finally abolished in French colonies in 1848. So this is all about the topic abolition of the slavery. Now let's talk about our last topic, which is revolution and everyday life. So friends, now let's discuss about the last topic of our chapter, which is revolution and the everyday life. So the years following 1789 saw many changes in the life of the people of France. So the revolutionary government took it upon themselves to pass laws that would translate the ideas of equality and liberty into everyday practice. So the revolutionary government, it took it upon themselves that they will pass the laws which will translate the ideas of equality and liberty into everyday practice of the people. Then, one important law that came into effect soon after storming of Bastille in 1789 was the abolition of censorship. So, after the storming of Bastille on 14 July 1789, one important law came into effect, which was abolition of censorship. What was censorship? But before the storming of Bastille, when the French Revolution had not been started, every written material, it is a newspaper or an article or a book or a printed picture, it has to be censored. It has to be approved by the king, and this was known as censorship. But after the storming of Bastille in 1789, censorship was removed. The abolition of censorship was there. So this law came into effect. Then, now the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen proclaimed freedom of speech and freedom of expression. So now Declaration of the Rights of Man proclaimed the freedom of speech also and freedom of expression also as to be a natural right. So the newspapers, written articles, printed pictures, songs, plays, they played a very important role in making the people aware of the country, what the changes are taking place in the country, how is the revolution going on. They played a very important role in the country to make the people aware. So this was all about the topic revolution in everyday life. Now let's discuss about a conclusion. So in 1804, Napoleon crowned himself as the Emperor of France. He created kingdoms and he conquered many neighboring countries. He introduced many laws such as protection of private property and uniform system of weights and measures. Many saw Napoleon as a modernizer of Europe who will bring good to the people of Europe, but soon he was viewed as an invading force. So finally he was defeated at Waterloo in 1815. So the French Revolution, the most important legacy of the French Revolution was the ideas of equality, liberty, democratic rights. They were the most important legacy of the French Revolution. Today, the ideas of equality, liberty, fraternity, democratic rights, they are inspired from the French Revolution. So this was all about the chapter, the French Revolution. I hope you have understood it and enjoyed this video. So I will be coming back with some more new topics of class 8 and class 9. Till then, that's it. And if you find our videos helpful and informative, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon and share it with your friends. So that's all for this video. Thank you.